This seems to be a file that has dates on it, and each of these dates coincide with an event. One of it's like launch of the Nostramos. One of them says lost Sokol ship to Hadley's Hope. Lost Hadley's Hope, and it kind of gives these dates. It says there are a few dates before what you know, Kitchens, because some of those have come up in your research, but these dates have not, and they're much older. One of them is dated 2103. Now, for reference, we're in 2196, so not quite 100 years, but we're getting real close.
Okay.
Lost vessel, USCSS Covenant, 2,000 plus colonists lost. Never recovered. But most importantly, there is one more date. There is launch 2090 USS Prometheus. The more information that pulls, every time it runs, and that very simple green text runs down a blank screen, just like you're staring at like a DOS window, more and more the reality of the fact that these creatures, these beast creatures, have been seen a lot in various incidents. These random occurrences, these strange disappearances of colonies and vessels that don't return. It's just a repeat, and you do this for hours and hours and hours, and you begin to realize that just this one ship alone has so much information about how many humans have been lost to something involving these creatures and whatever Weyland-Yutani seeks to do with them.
Why do you think Weyland-Yutani's after us? Do you really think it's because you know things and that we're loose ends?
Yes.
What do you think it is, Kitchens?
I think because somewhere along the line, we were a trial. We were a trial supplement in a test, and we were able to leave, courtesy of our own efforts. And that's something they want to discover. Similarly, the reason that we are still alive and they haven't immediately destroyed our vessel upon discovering us, because I access quite a bit more information than I think that they're even aware of. And I think somewhere along the lines, there's a good chance that Bishop shared those files with me. The aliens, the space beasts, we share more common DNA than we don't. I'm suggesting that they're more human than not, and this is information that has not been released into the public.
Right, but
Not
what purpose does
that
that
matters.
serve
I mean,
for
so
Weyland-Yutani
what, like
or them?
I want to know
common...
how they uncovered this evidence of this species. I'd like to know why, because there is more missing links to this project, this piece, this puzzle, this experiment. I would suggest that there are more than you and the space beast that we similarly encountered.
Going live. Arise, minions, and welcome to unMadeGaming. We are here for another episode of Alien. I have my pocket protector on. That means we are protected from these aliens and space marines. So watch yourselves. But as always, if you guys like what we do here and you want to support the channel, the best way to do that is by checking out the Patreon link down below for all kinds of behind-the-scenes exclusives. And while you're down there, join us in the Discord, be a part of the conversation, be a part of the community. And as always, in the bottom right-hand corner, you will see the corruption bar. That bar serves two purposes. One is when that bar fills, Dot gets to do the hell she wants to us. Usually it's terrible. And two, every single dollar that goes into that goes back to these wonderful, amazing faces that you see here before you. So, that being said, Dot, take us into space.
Okay. Well, we're gonna do a new question this week for our crew of the Pinocchio. Yes, of the Pinocchio. Geppetto is the new AI system, the broken mother computer, which we'll get to in a second. But let's go around and let all of you answer as you tell us who you're playing. Who's your buddy? And who's your rival? This is I guess you can call it a mechanic in the game. It is part of character building when you play in the campaign mode for Alien. Is for each player to pick a rival and a buddy. I've given them the free reign to do it outside of just the PC groups, so we might meet some new NPCs tonight. We're gonna go on my screen left, which actually makes it Zach. Zach, tell us who you're playing. Who's your rival? Who's your buddy?
I am Zach. I am playing Vince, a freshly 18-year-old young space cadet, at least by proxy, through his training from some of the other people here. And I would have to say right now, his buddy would be Ace, the new admitted young woman on the ship who was a part of and is a part of Shakespeare's network of spies and information brokers.
She's kind of the new
Um,
Shakespeare, thanks to all of you.
yeah,
She's
we'll
still
see how
doing
that
it.
goes.
Yeah.
Um, he, there's some complicated things about their relationship that I see possibly coming up in the future. We'll have to see. So that buddy may not necessarily turn to a rival, but it may get more complicated. But at the moment, Vince is very, excited and curious to learn more about this person. And then as far as his rival, this I'm probably going to change, but right now I'm going to make it Kitchens.
Oh.
Do I have to explain why? Yeah. Okay.
Well, you know what? You don't have to, as long as you give us a good reason in game. But if you don't want to, but
I'll
I
go
find
ahead
that
and
very interesting.
I'll explain it. And because I think certain above table information that the other characters may not necessarily know, but as long as the players know, can definitely influence the direction that we take stuff. So I think Vince, as he's starting to become an adult, is wanting to feel like he's more in charge of situations and less like he's continuing to be told what to do by the adults in the room. And last episode, when all this stuff started going down, it was kind of Rin and Kitchens leading the forefront. And I would say that Vince is definitely more used to a working relationship with Rin. And I think Rin has built up a respect for Vince. Not that Kitchens hasn't, but I think Vince doesn't trust Kitchens as much, just with that still like android aspect and the way that when he makes a decision that he's very on the nose about it because he's an android. So Vince kind of sees Kitchens and a little bit Rin as a blockade to his way to becoming an adult, almost like him being able to make his own decisions, feeling like he can contribute to the survival of the ship. Because right now he feels like he's still a kid taking orders from the adults. And then Barden's just there, being Barden. But but yeah, so that we'll see how that is right now.
Okay. I wonder if you feel less like an adult when this whole extravaganza is over.
Yeah. Probably going to change.
Probably, yeah, maybe some new feels. We'll find out. All right. Well, Bub, speaking of Kitchens, you're up next. Who's Kitchens and who's your rival and your buddy?
Kitchens is a synth that's operating in this world, trying to figure out just what it means to be alive. And everyone around him is a fluid test subject. And he's taking notes consistently on just about everyone as to what it means to have the human element. He wants it so much so that he's beginning to liken some of his surroundings to as such. With the Pinocchio of the ship, the Pinocchio, it makes sense for him because he wants to be a real boy. And Mother is now Geppetto, and he's afraid of being swallowed by Monstro, which is Weyland Yutani, because inevitably that can happen.
That checks out.
Cool. It definitely can.
So he's on that journey. He is, as discussed last time, a dopomancer. More or less a glorified KitchenAid, and has lots of drug-related knowledge and technology at his fingertips. I'm curious, before I answer this, can your buddy also be your rival?
Sure. I don't see why not.
I think his buddy and his rival is Ren. I think that Ren has established that line of trust within him that he is she can tolerate him. Let's say that she can tolerate Kitchens to the greatest degree, and I think she understands where his line of thinking can go most of the time. But I believe that Kitchens accepts that the moment he becomes a hindrance, he will either get left behind or dispatched. And that's probably like his first founded fear, is that he will not actually be useful to Ren anymore. So it's a buddy and a rival in that case.
Well then, speaking of, Meta, you're up.
That's awesome. First and foremost, I'm like super excited about these. Now I feel really boring, but that's fine. I made my choice. I'm sticking to it. So I'll leave my buddy for last, because the obvious answer for my rival, as everybody in chat should know, is that bitch Octana that killed Marilyn. So yeah, we're gonna fuck some shit up. That's what's gonna happen. Probably, maybe. If anything, I'll just make really quirky comments against her with like passive aggressive post-it notes or something. It'll be fine. Just totally
the worst.
And her buddy, hopefully we'll meet when we go to the United Americas. His name is Enzo from the Marines. Rin hadn't had a lot of relationships in her life, but this particular individual is kind of like the one that got away because work and killing things. And that's it.
Oh, I have so.
I'm
so
maybe
much
purposely
fodder.
leaving that one there. Yeah, there you
So
go.
much fodder.
Yes.
Much.
Yes.
Okay. And last but certainly not least, the craziest kook in space. Mike. Yeah, I meant
me.
not Barden.
That's perfect. Yeah, no, I agree. Barden's buddy, likely unbeknownst to him, is Kitchens, because he's the only one who hasn't shot down his crackpot theories, or told him to shut up, or tried to get away
Aw,
from him.
that's so nice.
And his rival is the entirety of Wayland Yutani, because he's realized in the last 7 years that he was put on that ice rock to like it was a closet. He wasn't there to find anything, and he was a waste of time and a waste of his life, and he was never going to achieve his goal there. And so he has an axe to grind against the entirety of Wayland Yutani. How that comes into mechanical play, Dot, I don't know.
Okay. I mean, your entire rival is an entire corporation.
Yeah.
You are at the losing end of that fucking
Yeah, no,
stick.
every day of the week. Every day of the week.
Just
I
so
like
that you
Courier's
know.
response in chat.
Yep. Yeah. I just said, oh snap.
Actual scientist. Wow.
He is an actual scientist. Okay, he's a doctor.
He actually believes that.
Asterisk.
Is what he means.
Yeah.
He has a doctorate.
In what?
Does anybody
geology?
here, show of hands, who believes that?
I believe it.
Thank you.
That's why you're his buddy.
I believe it.
It's a half hand. It's a half hand. She doesn't know if it's a legit degree, but she thinks that he's definitely got something.
Got a back
Vince-
alley
He
degree.
believes it's legit, at least. He believes it's legit. Whether
Yeah.
it is or not is another question.
He has a doctorate.
Okay, cool. Well, last week, the crew had spent most of the episode aboard the freighter, kind of snooping about the ship of their new recruit Ace, who kind of fell into their laps after she tracked them down using a radio ping from Shakespeare's like internal computers that the crew had taken many years prior. And what ensued was the truth about what Shakespeare was kind of up to, which is like a hidden library in space where these ships each have floppies of blacklisted information, lost information, and it just so happened for whatever reason, actually I know the reason, because of corruption bar, Ace's ship seemed to have specific information regarding appearances of the beast that this crew encountered possibly many years ago under the icy cold waters of that planet. But that wasn't the most exciting thing that happened. They were found out at the end, also thanks to a corruption bar, by the people who have seemingly been looking for them, which Ace warned about, that their files were pulled by the United Americas. And they showed up, and they were so nice. They came on board, and they simply just wanted to escort you safely to the United Americas to go meet with somebody that has requested your presence. And they were met with such hostility. so much hostility, even though they just all they wanted to do. So yeah, and by hostility I mean Kitchens literally attempted to gas them to death in a chamber, the entry chamber of attempted.
Well, not to death, but
the
did gas them.
one guy went down. The commander, what did we call her? The bitch. Commander
That bitch,
Octana.
Octavia.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
Mhm.
bitch.
Octana.
Yeah.
Octana was able to get them out, but only by the seat of her pants. And if I remember correctly, there was an agreement made that y'all were going to follow them.
Yes.
You were going to go and have see what this was all about. I mean, it isn't Wayland Yutani after all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just saying. So do you allow them to escort you, or are you trying to go on your own?
I think once they leave the ship and, we essentially reconvene, I imagine. And because I know that Vince was with Ace and like the ducts or something, and they were talking
hiding
about dead parents. So that was a thing.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
trauma bonding, like Ren
Yep.
suggested, which was great.
Yep.
And then
In the air ducts where it belongs. Yeah.
yeah. And so I figure, and then we don't know if Barden understood what Octana said about the lady being dead, because she didn't actually name her, because she probably didn't even know her name anyway. So I don't know if Barden caught onto that little bit, because it was all on comms. So
It was on comms. Everybody heard it. So I'll say you probably hear the release of their ship from yours, right?
Yeah.
As you are all once again kind of by yourself. What do you all do?
Well, Vince, when Vince was in the vent with Ace had just said that she was on the Sebastopol, or was it the other one? She was on a ship that I think Vince figured out.
Yep.
Was like
the
very old.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And-
right. Oh, that's right. Another corruption bar. That's what was the last one
yeah.
on. Yes, she kind of revealed that she may be older than she looks.
Yeah. At least in, I don't know what you would call that, in cryo years, I guess.
Cryo
Yeah,
years,
cryo
yeah.
years,
She's her and her family escaped the events of a place called Sevastopol, but you don't
Mhm.
necessarily know what that means, but you know that there was something had happened. Her mother didn't make it, and her father ran
Yeah.
from some traumatic event.
So would Vince know vaguely about that event and that it was that many years ago, or does he not even know that she's as old as that she actually is? So like should I make like a
That's
history?
I was about to say, I
check
don't
or
know if there's even
something?
a history check for you to make, because
Yeah.
here's the thing. Most people don't know what happened to Sevastopol. It just disappeared. It crashed into a planet. The entire station fell out of space and smashed into, like it
Yeah.
so you might
And I
know that
wouldn't
it was
say that
a lost space station. Like it was a very big one. It was a lost space station, but that would be, if you know anything at all, that's about all you know.
Okay. So, but if I do know anything about it, that then it was lost several decades ago, though,
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I think we left last session off with Vince saying something like, whoa, hold on, wait.
That's right.
wait.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
What?
Yep.
What wasn't the Sevastopol? How many years ago was that, Ace?
She kind of shrugs. I don't know, like 50 or something. It's fine. I mean, I'm still technically
Yeah,
by all
yeah.
standard, just not 50. I'm just a kid.
Yeah.
Just a kid.
No, it's. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I was just. It's just surprising, is all.
People.
Yeah. What?
It's all the time. She just kind of like rolls her eyes, like it happens all the time. People get lost in space.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And you still don't know what happened to your old station? What happened to it? Not at all.
No, no, I don't remember anything.
Are
She's
you
lying.
sure?
She's lying.
Yeah, that's why I'm
Super
asking.
lying.
Are
You
you
don't know
sure?
I'm very sure. I don't know anything.
Well, where I'm from was destroyed too. I'm not, a couple decades old. I'm exactly 18, as far as I know, unless I've been secretly in cryosleep without my awareness. But yeah, my station also was lost.
Oh, really? You lived on a space station?
I lived on a kind of a colony. It was a mining colony on an ice planet, and we were digging up an old ship, as it turned out. This is all has actually to do a bit with why I think Shakespeare wanted our records pulled, or wanted to be notified of if they were. There's a lot that happened that we haven't exactly told you yet.
You don't have to. It's okay. You don't have to tell me. You don't have to.
Maybe we will. Or I have a feeling you might find out for yourself at some point. But something seems similar about our situations that I can't put my finger on.
Yeah. Maybe.
Anyway, I think they left.
About? Oh.
I don't know. I just heard a message saying that they've undocked. So I guess it went well. Kitchens was talking about gassing them. So I hope either they're all dead or they're gone.
Do you do that often?
I don't know. This is actually my first time on their ship in about 7 years. So.
Really?
Yeah, they've got some new practices that I'm very surprised by. But I mean, it's in the spirit of protecting ourselves, I guess.
Self-defense is important. She kind of smiles and nods again.
You said you know how to fight?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes
how did you?
If I have to.
How did you learn? Did someone train you?
Time trained me. First-hand experience usually will do it.
Oh. Okay. Well, I can show you some techniques that Rin taught me.
She smiles a cute smile and she says, "You're going to teach me techniques."
Yeah, fighting techniques.
Like what?
Well, I can't exactly. We are literally in the fetal position in event right now, but I can show you. I was gonna go. I'm gonna go check on them, and but yeah, if you want to, I'm sure you're probably.
Have you ever been in a fight? She looks you up and down, sees how nervous you're. Like, I'm gonna show you how it's done, but she kind of looks through that a little bit.
Not exactly. No.
I look forward to your techniques then.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go.
You're gonna let me know if it's safe or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Don't worry, Vince is here. He'll protect you. Okay. And I leave.
Yeah, and she kind of pull. You see her fingers wrap the grate and pull it back closed as you leave. She's gonna wait until, of course, you tell her they're officially off the ship, because she's
Vince hops down out of the vent and he says, "I was just being sarcastic. I was making a joke, right then. Yeah, just I didn't actually. I mean, you probably don't need my protection, but it's there."
Vince. You should check and see if I can come out of the vents.
The vents.
The vents.
I'm gonna go. Okay, and I walk off.
And you leave her in the air ducts of this area as you catch. Yep. I'm guessing Rin and Kitchens. But what was Bart doing the whole time they were on this ship?
Why do you gotta ask these kind of questions? He was in the kitchen. He was cooking up. Kitchen? He was cooking up some things in Kitchen's kitchen. Yeah, he had already been stressed out about the information he had seen on there, and he had a theory that he voiced to Rin, and he didn't feel like it was properly received. So he is not a combatant, as you can see by his existence. And so
By his unzipped jumpsuit.
Yeah, by his unzipped jumpsuit, his tattered radioactive suit, his backpack of junk. He is in Kitchen's kitchen, cooking up some facts. He is combing through the timeline, and he is trying to piece together this timeline of events from whatever the hell our planet was called before, which I don't remember. I think it had like a numerical designation, to this this David, who I don't think he has any idea who the hell that is.
Okay, so you're looking for instances of David, and you're trying to piece together.
No, he's looking for instances of alien attacks, but they seem to trace backwards based on this information.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. This is interesting because you have the information. You're not going to roll for the info because you have the list of the events that came off of her drives, off the floppies. Yeah,
he's trying to like go and find out what happened, right? Because we have a list of things. So he's trying to do his best with whatever mainframe Geppetto has to like cross-reference those dates.
Like, can you put it together? Because here's the thing: there is, other than the Beast, which you have all at least put your eyes on once. There is no direct listing instance. All of these lost colonies, all of these incidences are listed, but there's no like sighting of a beast at any of them because there's never been a survivor.
Right.
So I need you to make a wits roll. I'm not going to add contact or observation or anything. Just whatever your die pool is. You may just have to roll it outside of.
Okay.
And see if you can figure out anything about it, working backwards down the timeline. And we're going to cut over to Run and Kitchens and see how the gassing went.
All right, I'm going to do this. Oh, that didn't work at all. That didn't work. Hold on a second.
But I can see the rolls. Stop, I can see them.
There's
so
1
5,
6
6, and 3. There's a 6, so that's a success.
Okay. I do. You know what? I do have 2 stress dice, so let me just go ahead and.
Yeah. So roll 2 more.
Let me just go
You
ahead.
got a failure. You got a success.
No failures there. So okay.
Okay, great. So you get a success. It's gonna take you a little bit. You're gonna have to sit here, and I imagine we hear your gruff voice like, and over here. And,
that's pretty good.
Someone clip that,
please. Okay. And you're kind of having to sift through this, and so what you start doing is marking each of these locations, right? So you get quite a few. The U.S. CSS Covenant is one of the locations. The Nostramos, the Lost Nostramos. The Lost Colony of Hadley's Hope, which is pretty well known. But it is said to have been lost because Wayland Utani bombed the shit out of it. They nuked it. And nobody knows really why. You get the Lost Sevastopol Station as part of that. And then you get the events of Fiornia 161, which is probably the most recent. Yeah, it's probably the most recent. Oh, and then of course the loss of the Solco, the marine ship that was lost trying to figure out what happened to Hadley's. They never returned either. So it's going to take you some time. But each one of these incidences, no matter what, match a similar situation to you. Wayland Utani was in some way, shape, or form involved in every one of these. It was either a Wayland Utani mission. Those Marines were hired by Wayland Utani, right? Sevastopol was a like station that was funded by Wayland Utani. Each one of them have a direct connection to Wayland Utani, and not a one of them is left standing. Hey, almost like the colony you survived, or the station you survived. There just seem to be, every one of them have the same kind of story. The only one that's really different is the Nostramos, which wasn't a colony, it was a vessel. And there was a survivor. that was found off the Nostromo. It's the only other survivor other than the the crazy man from Fionia. She is long dead. You don't have a date, but her file is marked deceased. Her name is Ripley. She went by Ripley. And she was taken with the Marines down to the Hadley's Hope incident, right, on the Sulco. And she didn't return along with any of the Marines. That is kind of where everything went dead. Why they would send a civilian pilot, or she was basically a junker pilot, right? Like, you can look through her Weyland-Yutani missions of the past, right? And Nostromo was the last one. It was just a regular routine type thing, and then something happened, and she was, her ship was lost, and she was picked up in space.
So I think with this information, it seems as though, meta sense, the Alien movies, right? So something happened on the Nostromo, that led to this, so there's a direct chain of events that all involve this Ripley person and Weyland-Yutani. That seems like one unique bubble. He wants to connect the previous event, which seems to be a while ago, a while past that. So he's trying to find a way to connect the Nostromo to what happened before, because there seems to be a long gap there. So the things, these creatures had to have gotten here somehow, and we're missing a huge chunk of time. And so he's looking for that information.
I would say right now, a single success, that is the piece you're unable to put together.
Okay, cool.
Right. Based on the single success. If you had gotten more, you might have been able to piece more together. But, and it's finger clicking on keys, grunting, and as the camera finds, Team Gas, near the entry point where the ship kind of docked, I'm guessing. Anything you two want to talk about before Vince joins you?
Okay. Well, what are your thoughts, Kitch?
Next time I should probably turn the temperature on my beaker heater quite a bit higher. I noticed that she didn't go down very quickly. Is that something that's common with all mercenaries? Because the others seem to go down rather rapidly.
Well, it depends on her training. I mean, as you know, I withstood the effects as well. So she more than likely has extensive training in breathing techniques and all sorts of other stuff. So, or maybe she's not. Well, I don't know. She got a little stumbly at the end, so I would venture to guess that she's not an android.
Should I increase the vapor lock, potentially pushing more gas into the chamber, or should I just vent everything?
Okay, well, I feel like that secondary option is a little extreme. More like if
proper belting, you wouldn't go anywhere, and it would just be seconds.
Hold on to that thought. We're gonna come back to that one day when I'm dead. And so why don't we get everybody together and we'll talk about where we're going. If you want to get Geppetto to plot the course that they gave us, I'd like to go talk to these people in the United Americas, because I have a feeling if these two ships don't bring us back, I'm sure many more will instead. And personally, I would like to keep everybody on board this ship alive.
What would they have to gain from finding us, Ren?
Well, the way that she was talking, it seems as if they need our expertise. And I don't think that means expertise in flying freighters. I think that means expertise in what happened on the colony, if I had to guess.
Our files were redacted. They were removed.
Right. But if somebody was snooping around, and the United Americans like to do that, among many others, then I imagine that someone somewhere realized that there was a good reason why our files were redacted.
So do you think that they uncovered those files, or just the fact that they were redacted and they got names?
No, I think that somebody told them something about that colony.
Oh.
That's what I would guess. I mean, you don't know what you don't know.
Very well.
So they know something.
I'll plot a course. I'll speak to Geppetto immediately.
Okay. So for now, I think that we're clear. Geppetto, Are we clear on all ships within range?
Clear on all ships. We have received coordinates from their vessel as to where we are to dock.
All right. She presses over comms. All right, Vince, Ace, y'all can come out now if you want, or do whatever it is you doing. That's fine too. Carry
Vince,
on.
I imagine you might have caught the end of that conversation, like in the doorway. You turn around and he's there.
I'm like, good to know. I'll go get her.
Okay. Everybody should probably meet in command area so we can have a chat about everything.
Okay.
All right.
And Vince goes and gets Ace and heads to said command area to wait.
I want to see, before I head that way, I want to make sure that we plot the course to follow the vessels, but is it capable that I can determine exactly what Ace did to the mother unit?
Yeah, you could try to, you could roll a comtech and see if you could work backwards, figure out what she did.
You got it. That's a pretty good roll for me.
Whoa.
Yeah, holy
Nice.
shit. So with 4 successes, it seems that she has access to, that she used some kind of worm, right? Like data worm or a virus that she put into the system. So what was happening was it was overriding all of Mother's access to things. That's why the doors were opening and things were shutting off and on, is because she was trying to basically reboot the system. So you can see that what she did was she went in and broke it away any like firewalls that were in place for specific information that would ping on keywords, specific searches, and any barricades that you might have come across that were more than just like directly connected to Wayland Utani's library, right? Because that's what you guys all cut off. Like Wayland Utani wasn't sharing your Wi-Fi anymore. You weren't connecting. You weren't on the same network.
Sure.
But what she did was she went through Mother, who is programmed to block specific things, and she broke down all the firewalls with basically a virus.
Is it capable that with my successes, I could potentially clone this? I could clone
Sure.
this virus?
Yeah. You could write it off onto a drive of some kind, or, I mean, you just made a floppy disk drive, so you could always go the floppy route.
I want to clone this into a file that I'll even store on my person. Something that I think a regular machine might be able to read, since floppy disks are sort of, old school. Let's put this in some common technology, something that I might be able to use later.
Sure. I mark it in your, like, put it down somewhere so I don't forget, like in your inventory or something, that you have a data drive or a data stick with the virus like on it.
Got it.
Yeah, no problem. And all of you convene. Barden, I'm sure you get the same note to meet in some way.
He heads his way down there.
Yeah. Which is funny because, again, this is just a junk freighter, so you've now deemed a specific space the like meeting room or command room, but really it's just a junk hole that they would have had more junk in,
Yep. We made like a makeshift round table to make it a little bit more official, which is like a bunch of like metal plating that's been like adjusted.
Yeah, that you've been adjusted, you like welded certain edges on and like ground down. Yeah, and your crew, the crew is there.
All right. So y'all heard everything that happened over comms, and now this Octana woman, I'm not a fan of her. I'm gonna be polite and say I'm not a fan. However, we do need to find out what's going on with the United Americas. So I feel, Kitchen's already plotted a course to follow to the coordinates. We got to figure out, Ace, I understand that you're clearly uncomfortable with the situation and you don't want to be discovered, and nor do I want you to be discovered. So I think probably it would be prudent to get the freighter. Well, shit, we don't really have a smaller vessel, do we? I want the freighter to be hidden, ideally. Do we have any ideas on that?
Hidden from what?
From the United Americas.
But aren't they escorting us to the United Americas? They're going to expect us to be there.
Yes, but they didn't say in what condition or within the freighter. They said the crew. And currently the crew is being Kitchens technically, as far as they know.
Well, they're not expecting the rest of them, so
Right.
It's to say that we have to technically report all of them.
Okay. So when we go to this meeting, are you two just going to go and then tell us what it is?
I mean, I feel like the safest bet is to separate our forces, right?
Well, wait, Ace.
In this particular case, since we don't know what we're walking into and I don't have much intel.
Didn't you say that the United Americas pulled our files?
I did.
So
now, they're no friend
it
of
was
Wayland Utani, so I don't
our
imagine.
files.
Right.
Yeah. So I think they know that we're.
Well, they don't know that we have you necessarily. Well, maybe
but they went
do.
to the colony.
Yes, they did go to the colony. Damn it.
By the way, Barton, you were on the colony longer than most.
Yeah.
You have any idea whom she might be referring to by this quote-unquote old bat?
Well, I mean, as the resident old bat that was there myself, there weren't too many elderly people in the colony because space travel is hard on the old bones. So I would have to guess that it would be Marilyn, the little old lady that I was bagging.
She always made stuff for us. That's awful. I hate her more now. Not Marilyn.
Well, don't hate Marilyn. She was a good.
No. She was a peach.
She was a yoga instructor, and there was a whole.
Oh,
great thing.
Is that why you liked her so much?
Please don't remind me of that.
No, hold on.
I want to burn that from my memory. Please.
I see. This is important information for various reasons.
Sundays was geriatric fitness day.
Oh God!
At the community
I
center
regret
that we made.
looking in that room.
I was working on making a pool for aquatic.
Vince, you're gonna get old eventually. You're gonna have to do all these stretches, or you're gonna lose any mobility.
I know.
whatsoever.
I know.
What is the correlation between being both a yoga instructor and banging? What is that? Tell me more.
Oh, the flexibility. I mean, before she had a hip replacement, she could get both legs behind, but only now it's just the good one.
Oh, I understand. That makes sense.
Are these the techniques you're going to be showing me?
I'm sorry.
Not at all. You just insinuated that, not me.
I mean, I'm just asking. You said you knew how to. Did you learn from them how to?
Fighting techniques, not yoga techniques, Ace.
Oh.
I mean,
When did you learn to fight?
Yoga and fighting could be very similar.
I was training him, Kitch. What do you think? I spent all my time playing yo-yos with Vince, or what?
From my immediate recollection,
but
you were training him how to hide.
Okay.
And then
I already knew how to do that, Kitchens.
Yeah, he knew how to do that. I was showing him how to be stealthy to gain an advantage over his enemies, which he is quite good at.
If someone does grab me, or I know some hand-to-hand combat stuff, and then also training with a pistol and a gun in general.
Right. So the techniques you're talking about is the training techniques.
Yeah, the hand-to-hand combat techniques that you taught me, how to fight, how to get out of a chokehold, right? The basics.
No, I'm just making sure, because if we're crossing this threshold of other techniques, we gotta have to designate a portion of the ship somewhere else, away from people.
Barton was talking about
privacy.
Gross old people yoga. I don't look. I'm good.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna drop the subject. I feel slightly uncomfortable.
So, you, Ren, you want to get to the United Americas in a ship that's not our ship, so that they don't know about our ship.
I mean, it might not even, they do know, or they know about our ship. Two, I'm gonna say something that I don't want to say, but I'm gonna, is that they already know everything that that we think they probably don't know. So trying to hide it is probably useless at the point. So what I'm gonna say about that, because that's their job.
What about
if they were so well informed, they wouldn't be asking for us. They wouldn't hunt us down. They wouldn't hire mercenaries. We can feign ignorance.
Well, no, because if they weren't as well informed as they are, they wouldn't have found us at all.
Unless there was a slip.
By who?
That is yet to be determined.
Oh, we have no time to investigate who did what and what not. Okay. What would you, I'm going to leave the floor open. What would y'all rather do? Should we all just go together, with the exception of Ace? I don't think she should be involved in this for the sake of her own safety and the safety of the ship.
I have one point to make here.
Okay.
Just want to clear the air here. Vince, I want like you to know that Kung Fu is actually a physical martial art that was based off of ancient culture, Indian yoga. So yoga and hand-to-hand combat could be 2 in 1. It's not just about old people and or flexible levels. If you can do a split, you can do a high kick. That's all I'm trying to say.
Correlating points. I saw this from the anime that I found.
Thank you. See, very similar. I don't know what that is, but I believe Kitchens. He seems like a smart guy. Ren, I don't have any input on what you said. I apologize.
Springtime of the youth.
Oh, I remember I had a youthful springtime.
Empathy.
I'll tell you about that.
That's actually one of my highest. I think it's the highest.
I'm not even gonna make you roll. Y'all are talking about like different forms of combat, yoga, martial arts, all of this stuff, and Ace is trying very hard to avoid conversation, trying not to make eye contact. Yeah, she
Is it
looks
obvious?
guilty. It's very obvious for people that have high empathy.
Well, that I have the highest empathy. It can't go higher.
There you go. So then I would say you absolutely note it. And if this is your buddy, I would say you probably note that something, you don't know what, you can't tell that she's hiding something, but you know something's up.
Yeah, it's the usual. Vince says, so, I mean, I wasn't there. We only heard through the comm, but it sounds like they want to hire us to do something. Like they want us to go on a mission or something, you know?
Yeah, or something. You know, last time somebody hired me on a mission, I wound up here.
What's wrong with us?
We found good company.
I'm just saying. I ended up underneath the ice for like 10 years. I think we were frozen. I don't know, forever.
Yeah.
Her eyes get really big. Ace's eyes get really big, and she looks over to you.
Vince shoots a look at Ace for a moment and then goes back to the rest of the group.
Okay, so I'm sorry, Ace. Are you okay? Mm-hmm. You got something in your eye? What's going on?
Nope.
Hiding in the vent was really stressful for her.
Mm-hmm.
She's claustrophobic.
So claustrophobic.
Okay, hold on. That's bullshit because she was in that tiny little rickety ship over there.
Hey,
for how long?
That's my ship.
It has like just enough room, you know?
Listen, I see
for 1 to 2
I know
people, yes.
bullshit when I see it. And that's bullshit.
To be honest, I don't know. Did one of you say that they're pretty in league with Weyland-Yutani? I thought we heard that they're
No.
Yeah,
they're not.
So hey, why don't we do this then? I mean, Ace, why are you afraid of the? I mean, I can understand Weyland-Yutani, but
really exist. Technically, I'm an unmarked person. If they try to run my fingerprints or my retinal scans, they're not going to find anything. Well, at least they're going to find out that I'm supposed to be dead on the Sevastopol station.
Would Rin know that? The Sevastopol station, considering her age?
How old are you?
If
technically,
if we're
ignoring cryo sleep and everything else,
yeah,
she's almost 70 at this point.
Wow, yeah, okay. So you would have heard that the Sevastopol station, like long before there was the Hadley's Hope incident, which is kind of the hot to try item right now that's kind of raging this Cold War between the different factions. Before that, there was the lost station of Sevastopol. It was said to have something happened, contact was lost, and it crashed into, like, exploded, and it was a massive space station. So that is all that is known. It was said everybody on board was lost. That is what records show. That is not true.
Okay, I'm sorry. You said
welcome in, Raiders. I see you out there. Thanks for being here.
Hello,
Dot. I have a question for you.
So you're saying you were on a ship
that
was gone about 50-ish years ago, and you are here as a child right
now? Technically, yes.
So obviously cryo sleep, unless there's something we don't know about you as far as being an android goes.
I don't know what happened. I just know when we woke up, we were rescued, my father and I.
Rescued by who?
A bunch of junkers. Shakespeare.
Okay.
He had this code, I guess, when these colonies would disappear or explode or be wiped away, he would he would send agents to go scout the area. He believed that not everybody can be lost all the time.
That means he has data on this event in his library.
He might.
I'll bet he does.
It
What do you
was one
think,
of his
Kish?
agents that found us, floating in pods.
Hmm.
I don't know how long we've been out there. I don't even know when Shakespeare learned that Sevastopol was lost.
Kitchens, do you think it's worth looking into now that we've unlocked Lillard?
Oh, without a doubt. I'd like to know what sort of additional information or what your repository particularly dates to.
You mean my ship?
The files in the ship. The floppy drives. You have thousands.
About that, I was doing a little work on the kitchen over there, back there, and I think I figured out some. What are we calling this guy? The alien. Alien.
What are you talking about?
A
Alien seems
xenomorph?
like appropriate.
I thought that's the
I mean,
the phrase
that's
that
like
we
a
were using for,
scientific
like, the
name,
scientific,
but like, yeah, but like, you,
Okay, so we're telling her now. All right, cool.
were we not
I mean,
telling?
we're about to walk into something we don't know much about.
Vince
So.
is
Well, yeah, I just
incredibly
wasn't
protective of this.
Wasn't sure.
Information is relevant to her knowledge and at least her survival up to this
Right,
point. There's a
yeah.
reason that we're being
Yeah,
hunted.
no.
Plus,
I'm,
you
I'm
know,
not
I mean,
protective of it. I
Vince,
just thought you guys were.
I
We
just
were
wanna
not
say,
talking about it.
you know, a young lady like this might find it very intriguing to know that a young gentleman such as yourself helped to kill an unknown, previously unknown alien entity.
Feel like we're going in the wrong direction. And
Okay,
Dot.
sorry.
events right now.
Anyway.
Dot, do I have the information on the Sevastopol from Bishop's files that he passed my way?
Ooh, that's a good question. Probably not. The
Probably not.
Sevastopol is not going to be in Bishop's files because a lot of his files are attached to David, and this
Okay.
would have been so post David. The files that you have from Bishop are going to point more to the U.S. CSS Covenant. To the Prometheus expedition. Yeah, and the early efforts of Wayland Yutani pre-merger, or of Wayland pre-merger.
Pre-merger, right.
Okay, Kitchens, I hope you don't mind that I was going through some things in the room, but it was the things that was previously stolen, borrowed, investigated, whatever we want to call it. I think I pieced together a few potential fact-adjacent opinions that I have gathered here about the Sevastopol, which is listed in the soft floppy disks, and there was a Nostromo, there was a Hadley's Hope, there was some other shit, there was the Sevastopol. These all seem to be in relation to one pilot. I don't know what she did. One lady, her name was Ripley. She worked for Wayland Yutani in some capacity, I think. I wasn't really sure on that. The details were scarce and few and far between. Either way, it seems that she's connected to all of these events.
What I have information on Ripley.
You could pull her file. She is also claimed deceased, right? She's been dead.
Particularly from Bishop's files.
From Bishop's files. Bishop's files is going to tell you that Ripley did not die in the Hadley's Hope incident. Like, she did not die in the Colonial Marine expedition. His files are going to tell you that, in fact, she died at the events of Fiona 161. Her, along with two other people, crash landed on the prison planet.
Wait, I thought we may have not had a name, but I feel like Ren would not necessarily may have known all of the implicit details, but I think that it was told to the Wayland guy that Mike was playing,
Yep.
and to Ren that they were. No, Bishop told me they were scraping.
They were scraping for her DNA. You're right.
Yeah.
So he did tell you. So if you go to the computer right now and look it up, her file is going to say that she died in a Colonial Marine incident when they, as part of the what was this? The Sulco, the USS Sulco,
Yeah.
that was lost when they went to investigate Hadley's Hope, and then there was a nuclear reaction explosion, and the Colonial Marines and Ripley, along with everybody there, was lost. You would know that absolutely cannot be true. because you were flat out told by Bishop, as both the Marine that was supposed to be the Colonial Marine who was supposed to be in charge of that mission, and Kitch's the secret information Bishop gave you that they were scraping for her DNA. She
Right.
landed on Fiornia 161 and was there, and she was tied to whatever is going on. That is about as much as you know at this point.
So it appears as though there was a encounter with the creature similar to what we dealt with on a ship, and then on like some kind of colony, and then like another space station. All these tied together with this woman named Ripley, who is apparently dead according to these records. However, we go back to what you had found earlier, Kitchens, about a man named David or something, and another big colony ship. There's a massive year gap there. So it seems as though there's some alien activity here that sounds a lot like things we dealt with. A huge gap of time, and then rapid fire a bunch of alien things that happen in sequence. And then years down the line, us getting attacked by a series of aliens trying to eat our face and dissolve our bodies with their acid spit. But there is a blank gap in the timeline. I think that is what we should focus on, as opposed to Sevastopol and whatever.
It's interesting still to bring that forward. Am I correct in hearing that you said that you were aboard at the Sevastopol?
You say me?
I think she was from it,
No,
as in she lived there.
Not me.
I was born on Sevastopol. My family lived there for a long time. My parents were in research, scientists.
But the Sevastopol was marked as destroyed, no survivors.
Which is what she said, and then Shakespeare and his crew saved them.
Mm-hmm.
Why would Weyland-Yutani mark that as 0 survivors?
For the
They would
same
account.
reason that we don't exist, technically.
Oh, they would dot out our files as they did with us. They wouldn't mark her as deceased.
Well, unless they had a hand in the destruction of the station,
I don't think they knew that we escaped
or that.
Ace,
at all. Yeah.
have you seen the Space Beast?
No.
Oh, okay. I don't have lie detector, but that was bullshit, honey.
I'm not very good at lying. I don't know what I saw. I was really young. We were running. There was a lot of screaming. I didn't really know. Something came out of the ceiling and grabbed my mom, and then I just
Okay.
and then
okay.
we my father, he put us in launch pods and shot us into space. We slept there for roughly 50 years before we were collected, and Shakespeare added us to his recruits.
Okay.
I should
We have
I
two.
have a
We've all encountered it too.
Mm-hmm. Multiples.
We escaped.
Yeah, we killed a bunch of them.
I killed a few. Thank you.
that's what Shakespeare was trying to help you out with, right?
Something like that, yeah. We weren't supposed to survive.
At least in that wheelhouse, yes.
I have something you might want. I have a suggestion too. She says,
Okay.
if you're taking over Shakespeare's business, there are entire stations dedicated to harboring fugitives like us.
Now that is good information.
I could try to contact one and get some clearance codes, and we could dock. They could watch the freighter, and maybe they could give us a secondary vessel to jump over.
That's an excellent idea.
Okay.
The one thing
she
I
kind
don't
of-
want happening is this entire
But-
database, because this is what the ship is. It's a database, and I don't want that getting to the hands of anybody.
If we're following the mercenaries, and then what, are we going to hail them and say, hey, hold on, we need to stop at this fugitive planet?
I didn't
And
say
pick-
They sent you
escorted us.
coordinates.
Yeah,
the
they
deal
said-
was
yeah.
y'all didn't want to follow them. You didn't like that idea,
Oh.
so they sent you
Yeah.
coordinates of where you're to meet them.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
you'll have to react pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Never
I think
mind.
that was the deal that was made, since I don't know, you tried to kill them with gas. They kind of like, all right, I'm right.
All right.
Okay, so
Oh, okay. I didn't
yeah.
catch that.
So she leaves rather there's like a state of shock, a little bit of shock on her body. And she leaves in and goes away for a minute. She's gonna be gone for a few minutes. She seems to be retrieving something, probably from her ship.
Well, it kind of happened, backwards way. I hadn't intended on telling her all this like that. But
that's all I was saying too.
Right. Okay, Barden.
We can't hear you, Barden.
Sorry, I was in my head. I thought I was talking out loud. But it happens with age. I didn't know there was some kind of implicit. We didn't want to tell her about this.
No, it's not that we didn't want.
We just never talked about it
in a better,
and
more cohesive
I thought
fashion.
we would have talked about how we would tell her before we did.
Right.
But
like break it into a ship.
I think there's a good way to break the news about there being monsters of like complete destruction.
But some ways are better than others.
We did just invite her to take over the secret operation about the spies, galactic spies. So I feel like lying to her would probably. We could go to this fugitive place that she mentioned, this colony or whatever, this station, and drop off the freighter and leave her.
Right.
So that we don't have to worry about her coming with us.
Right.
She could start taking over Shakespeare's stuff, and then we could take her new ship, and then.
I agree. Maybe she can also find a way to upgrade the firmware while she's on station. I think that might be a good double,
From the doorway, you hear the small voice. It's like, well, I'm glad you like my plan. And in her hand, she has the journal you found that you chose not to open.
Yep.
And a folder, what would be considered a folder or folio of some kind, and it is jam-packed with paper of various sizes. They're kind of worn around the edges, but it looks just somebody put them all in this folio. And she's got that in one hand and her journal in the other, and she kind of sets them down on the table. And she flips the folio open first, and you can see there is a series of hand-drawn, like with charcoal and black oil, like with your finger and things on paper, drawing after drawing after drawing of the beast, the xenomorph, done in various stages. And she says, my father, we both had dreams that haunted us after the events, and Shakespeare encouraged us to draw them, so we did. These are my father's the events, and you can kind of see flipping through, you see like some of them aren't of the xenomorph, some of them are like moments on the Sevastopol station where you can see like chaos and people running and screaming. One of them is just the hooked tail like jutting through the neck of another person. They're almost disturbing in some way, something that somebody slowly losing their mind might draw. And she says he was obsessed, my father, with them. And you can see at the end, or because it top down, right? So the top ones would be the latest ones, which means they're more chaotic. And as you go down the stack and get to the earlier ones, they're a little less chaotic. Some of them even have notes in the corners. And you see that one of the drawings includes an egg, one that you have all seen before. Ren and Kitchens, you would know that very quickly. And one of the notes in the corner talks about how he remembers them bringing one on board Sevastopol to the science department, and they were supposed to be doing research on it. Then she slides her journal over. And she says, this one's mine.
Draw in this as well, or mostly writing?
She kind of unties the leather binding that's like around it. You can see it's a hand bound like journal. And she creaks it open, and you can see that she also has some drawings. But hers are a little different. Hers are less chaotic. They're not great drawings. There's no like atomically super duper accurate, but instead they seem to be notes, right? A lot of the journal entries start out as like panicked therapy notes and writing and like entries, but as it gets further, it becomes more and more drawings that talks about like the tail has a spike. Their teeth are made of metal. Where she is almost like slowly over the years, she's been able to decipher out what she can remember about her escape from the Sevastopol station, and the dreams that she had 50 years in cryo, because you don't stop dreaming in cryo. You're basically in an extended sleep cycle. So she dreamed in REM sleep about these things in this event for 50 years. And it seems that she's using this journal to suss out what she can actually remember about them, right? Blood is acid, so forth and so on, right? And so the latter pages seem to be a little bit more of her own efforts and research. And she says, after my father died, I decided to try to take up where his research left off. His mind wasn't very good, so most of his is just nonsense.
Okay. This is fairly thorough, I would say. All things considered. Some familiar.
Don't do anything but float in space.
True.
Right. I'm gonna and she hits like a computer and hits and starts trying to ping the nearest station, which is not far.
Thanks for showing us all this, and I'm sorry that all that happened to you.
Thanks, I guess. More sorry for all the other people.
Yeah.
I wonder if there are other survivors, you know?
There are. There most certainly are. We survived. You and your father had survived. We are not the only ones. That's the human element that I wish so hard to discover. What does it mean? What does survival actually look like? What do those instincts look like? How can I simulate them?
One can't live off instincts alone, she says.
It's true. It takes more than that. I completely agree. The problem here, and it's also to the successes of Shakespeare, is that Weyland-Yutani succeeds because no one talks. Nobody shares the information. These repositories are all floating.
I agree.
I guess maybe he thought it was for safekeeping. You know, if they find out, they'll hunt down every ship and destroy his operation.
Not if it doesn't come back to him.
How many others were told about us? Or were you told, you and your father?
I don't know. He pinged our ship directly.
There's a reason.
7 or 8 years ago, maybe. I do know that he isolated information. Some vessels held certain pieces of information about certain things. He knew what happened to my father and I, so he put us in charge of very specific information.
You're a smart girl, Ace. Draw the path. Put them together. Why would he ask you specifically to find us?
Well, it seems that he knew more than I did. I really don't know what you want me to do. I've not seen one of those creatures in a long time. Thank you.
That's all that you need to do. You need to survive. And if we intend to climb above this monstrous beast that is Weyland-Yutani, we have to share that information. I am not afraid to talk about my own past. I know that I make people uneasy. I am a synthetic. That's not much of a surprise. You can see what I've done to my own body. I am defective by most courses.
Everybody's defective in Weyland-Yutani's eyes.
I don't necessarily know if it's defective as much as they are disposable in Weyland-Yutani's eyes.
Both, I would say.
I know that you all don't seem to trust whatever's going on with the United Americas, but
I don't think they're going to kill us.
She says, nobody's ever believed me before. I've never met other survivors who actually believed the beast. I read it, the book, and it was a little ranty, and when he wrote in verse, it didn't make much sense, but I read it.
I read it as well.
It was very
Desta had
ranty.
acquired a copy from Shakespeare.
I would have preferred a summarized paragraph.
A cliff notes.
She goes, oh, that's why.
What?
We hold the copy of the beast, the only official copy in the floppies.
Oh.
He reached out to us asking for a transmission all those years ago.
We were given a printout of that. Like, that information was sent to Desta, and
Yes, from Shakespeare, but
Yeah.
Shakespeare has to get it from somewhere, right? Shakespeare
Yeah,
told
yeah,
him it's going to take him a second to pull it, right? So he had to ping whichever part of the spaceship catalog, card catalog he had in space, and it happens to be their vessel, which is definitely why he would have given them the order, knowing that that's what y'all were looking for. I imagine Shakespeare was like, "I know what y'all are onto."
Okay, so let's say we go to this refugees kind of station, drop off the freighter, pick up something that's quick and mobile to bring us over to the United Americas. Obviously, Ace, I would recommend you staying on the freighter.
Yeah, I thought maybe I'd start doing some work and reaching out to all of his agents.
That's an excellent idea.
Okay.
Ace, would we have access to more of your files?
I mean, at this point, it seems silly for me to tell you no, but you can have access to anything that's on my ship, I guess.
Well, technically, you will be the librarian.
Whew. Yeah, when you
Great.
say it like that, it's kind of a lot of yeah, I guess you're right. I probably shouldn't keep that information anymore. Maybe all of you can keep it.
Well, we could probably load it into the database here, right?
I was
We'll
thinking
be
it might
leaving
be
it all
safer
with you, though.
that we might send your vessel back into space, into the outer rim, as a floating, hidden narrative, something that we can ping directly. Set the ship's course to evade. Leave it on cloak, and you can ping it back at any time you have access or you need to access your own vessel. We can find you another ship.
Never lived anywhere else but that ship.
Well, it's time for a bit of an aging in experience. After all, you are roughly the age of most of the people here.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be fine, right?
Everything's fine where there's effort. Just don't give up.
Just hide it in this ship?
I agree with her.
I do not agree with her.
I feel like right now that's not the top priority.
Well, we have to get to her fugitive colony or whatever first.
Let's propose this
right?
idea first and foremost. We head to see the United Americas.
Correct.
We abscond from our vessel. We see to the United Americas individuals that wish to speak with us. Who's here to protect our vessel?
Ace.
Ace. Ace? How do you intend to handle multiple mercenaries with firearms?
She smiles and once again digs her toe in the ground. She says, I'm capable of taking care of myself.
I believe that. Raw numbers might dictate otherwise. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's numbers. They're finicky and unforgiving things, but that's where the truth lies. I don't know what your metric measures to, but I can associate that there might be more there. And I'm willing to venture to say that I'll play ball. If that's what it means, we can play it loose and hard. Drive it like we stole it, as they used to say.
I don't know that I understood all of that. She says, but
me either.
I get it. I'll meet you halfway. You can take all the information off the ship and you can store it in a private, non-network computer. It has to be local. The reason Shakespeare didn't have this information in his computer is because it was too much of a risk. It was isolated to those drives on that vessel. So take what you want and we'll send it back out into space and hide it.
Can't we just make a backup and have that backup be sent somewhere else and then have like a kill switch on this freighter or something?
I am the backup. All of the information that I
logged all of Shakespeare stuff. All of it.
I can do that. Yes, that's my primary purpose.
Just a big storage cabinet.
Okay.
With fancy fingers, yes.
Okay, great. You guys do what you need to do to back up all the data and then figure out what you're going to set up on the freighter as a kill switch in case Ace is unable to keep somebody from boarding the vessel.
I think Ren is saying, or sorry, Kitchens is saying that we're not going to have any of Shakespeare's stuff on this freighter. That the sources of all of that database network would be Kitchens and Ace's vessel. And he wants to shoot Ace's vessel out into the depths of space, hopefully to be more well hidden.
Ace's
Am I
vessel
right?
can't. We'd have to basically go back to her vessel all the time to back up everything.
Question, and I don't mean to be rude or a forward. Vince mentioned that you were all planet side.
We were.
Do you live on a known colony?
No, but now that you know who found us from there, then
No, now.
yeah,
Compromised.
compromised.
Necessarily, they may know where it is. But if they want you to work for them, they're not gonna harm the thing you care about. I guess what I'm saying is we could hide it under their noses. They'll be on the lookout for it in space. But not planet side. I could set coordinates and let it self-land on any planet you want.
Okay. That ship is equipped to deal with radiation. I would say put it somewhere outside of the biome.
Oh, oh. That way
Nobody's
nobody
going to
can
go
get to it.
there. Not unless they have a death wish.
Can you give me the coordinates?
I think we can do that, right, Kitchens?
Easy enough.
All right.
Starting point, and then if we want to access the information again, it won't be far away.
Or we just have Kitchens too.
Well, there's a problem with that too. Don't forget, they know he's defective, and if they get their hands on him, he gives direct access to everything.
And they would be some of the only people that know how to get that from you.
Right.
I'm willing to make my own compromises, and this is where it comes at the potential death of my own unit. I would be willing to find a aftermarket additive or instructor to add a permanent kill switch.
I could do that.
Now,
So that if
I just want to make sure that I'm on the same page here. So we have a button that just.
More like I would have a button. If anything were to happen to my unit, that it would immediately kill switch and break the information. No longer would it be traceable, discoverable, or even remotely accessed, even after repairs.
It's not my call to make.
sure.
I'm not going to mandate somebody to do that.
I can I could program that for you, Kitchens.
I think Kitchens just looks to everyone. He suggested like suicide, as close to suicide as it gets, if it means that the information is protected. And Barden didn't say anything, but Ren was like, I'm not sure that's worth, but he was a little like, remember, like his empathy is incredibly high. Like that's his program point of knowledge was like empathy in medicine. And Vince was like, yeah, sure. Yeah. So that probably hit him a little oddly.
Since your empathy's maxed out, I would say based on how much time you spent with Rin, she's very much a leave no soldier behind, and that for her kind of jives against it. So
Yeah, no, I gathered that from that moment. It was just, I think it was a little harder to hear from Vince in that moment. So yeah, he doesn't say anything, but he just continues to smile on. At this point, he waits.
Look, we're running out of time. They gave us the entry codes.
Okay.
For the station. They'll only last for so long, so we should get moving.
All right, let's do that. How much do we need to funnel from Shakespeare's money to get a temporary vessel, or maybe even permanent? I don't know how this will turn out.
She smiles. She says, I don't think you understand. Shakespeare has paid for every one of these colonies.
Oh, great.
You'll probably be welcomed in with open arms.
Cool.
And that is, in fact, what happens. You kind of come up on the freighter comes into view of a what some might consider a space station. It is made of junk. It is a much larger version, kind of the ship that she has. You can see things jutting out from it. Satellites and antennas and these kinds of things, and you can see various other junk ships, much like hers. Some a little bit larger. Kind of stationed and docked. Lights are low on it, so it can't draw a lot of attention. And it seems to be set amongst an asteroid belt right now. So it kind of sits amongst a lot of other stuff. In this asteroid belt is also some ship junk, which it usually happens. Some ships don't make it through asteroid belts. And what's left of them ends up becoming part of the asteroid belt itself. And so you can see it just kind of floating among there, and she kind of points to it. And as you all dock, you are in fact greeted, and you see that this is a station unlike one you probably ever experienced. Much like your colony, these are people that are trying to survive. They wear clothing and makeshift armor, much like hers. None of the technology on here, and not a single bit of anything on this station seems to be marked by Weyland-Yutani. This is a free station. They meet you with food and water. People seem worn by space, right? But they're still a joyous people. Like the people here seem happy to be free of all of that. And you are given a vessel, small, like puddle jumper type thing. They have it sitting in a dock. It is a Wayland. No, I would say it is a like small United Americas vessel. You can say they have one for each, right? Like, so they probably have one that's marked Weyland-Yutani, one that's marked something else, so that you're probably not the only people that borrow these, right? And do these kinds of missions for them where they may go undercover or try to infiltrate something. So you get the idea that this is an operation that's set up. It's like the rebels in Star Wars having So anyways, and you ping to the location that was given to you, which very trafficked by other like Marine and U.S. vessels. You can see that there's a very large military base in space, which is where they have pinged you to. And as you get close, you hear over comms your favorite person in the whole world. I'd call it your buddy, but I guess you marked her as your rival, so whatever.
Oh no.
Octana comes on your comms and she says, glad to see you finally arrived. Though I'm interested, this is not the ship you claim home.
Yep, we had some repairs we left it behind with the mechanic.
Good to know. And she says, though I question where you got a colonial marine vessel.
I have a buddy. Don't worry about it.
I'd like to meet
where
that
I
buddy.
come from. I'm sure you've read my file.
That's not my job.
Well, I'm sorry that you're not very well informed.
There's a very pregnant pause on comms when you say that. You are welcome to dock in the upper station, number 6. You'll be met with escort. Don't hurt yourself.
What, are there stairs? We have an old person with us.
Comms
are there
shuts
stairs?
off.
I'm literally in the same room as you.
I know. I was just being snarky. Okay.
Okay. I'm just saying. I
Hurt
climbed
ourselves.
the 10-mile
somebody.
drill.
Won't be me.
I climbed the 10-mile drill, and then I rode a large man up a cable. I'm pretty sure I can navigate some stairs. I fought off
yeah, you did do that.
I fought off several aliens, and then I made a bomb. Okay.
Hey,
I'm just the old guy.
hey, Barden.
Yeah.
We're entering now like an actual establishment where maybe not everyone knows about aliens.
Oh, yeah. Don't talk about aliens. Don't.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Just to be clear about what I think the plan should be.
I feel like, Kitchens and I had a moment, the other time where I mistakenly called him a robot. We had a little heart-to-heart. We're even Stevens now. I feel like you're teaching me my letters and numbers like I'm a grade school child here. I am a learned doctor. I know when and when we should not talk about aliens, portals, rocks, banging old ladies, etc. I have lived quite a few years in succession without having gotten myself arrested, thrown in jail. I am a scientist. I do have several dozen years of formal education. I think I can figure out which fork is a salad fork, kid. Okay. All right.
So
I'd expect that
let's
from you. You're kind of uncouth. No offense, scary lady. But Vince, come on now, buddy.
Well,
This is not. Talk about
Why don't we
talk
just
about aliens. I
wait
want to
and
talk about
listen?
aliens.
Let's practice listening techniques today.
I'm with that.
I swear to God. Now I'm gonna
You,
talk about aliens out of spite.
the door slides open to this military base, which is so much cleaner than the space station you just left, so much cleaner than your freighter. Like, everything here is in the nines. There's this bit of nostalgia probably that washes over Rin. You are used to command centers like this all the time, especially when you were a proper colonial marine. And as the door opens, you see a familiar face. There stands Sergeant Octana. But Rin, you also see another face. She mentioned she had 2 other members of her party. Your friend, Enzo, is part of her team. He looks surprised, though he tries not to let it show on his face because, but time has worn him down a little bit. You can tell he's seen some shit. He has a scar that you've not, that he didn't have the last time you saw him. And she has 4 other basic kind of colonial marines with her, and the 8 of them, unless you'll say anything, will escort you very quietly and in an orderly formation down a series of hallways through these kind of sterile labyrinth into a waiting room.
Yeah, Ren won't react at all. Can we get some snacks maybe, or some water, some refreshments? You know, we've been traveling a while. What do you think?
You guys have pretzels?
Oh yeah, he likes pretzels.
No, we don't.
What do you have?
Nothing.
You don't
That's
eat.
unfortunate for you. Wow.
We do, but food is reserved for Marines. And she hits the door, and her crew leave, leaving the 4 of you sitting around this perfect, smooth metal table.
I don't think she likes me.
Vince turns to Ren and says, "Food is reserved for Marines."
Right? Oh, she needs to get laid. I'm sorry, that was not appropriate for you. I'm sorry.
I'll pretend I didn't hear that.
Okay.
But yes.
Very
Door
stiff.
slides open. A gentleman walks through. He is shoulder pads. Ren, you would immediately know this is no Marine. This would be a commander of some kind. He wears all the right uniforms, his stature, his posture, his hair, all of it. He's a very important person just based on the medals he wears alone.
Well, hello. How's it going?
You know the answer to that question before I have to answer it, I assume, or we would not have drug you all the way out here.
Well, actually, I don't know how you're doing, but that's, I guess, not relevant to this discussion.
He says, I shall introduce myself first. That seems more poignant.
Okay, sorry. We're doing formalities. Got it. Let me just button up my jacket here.
He says, I am Aaron Percival, the colonial commander of the 4th Recon Battalion. I have spent quite a bit of time doing some research on lost colonies. The events of Hadley's Hope and the loss of the Sulco has not set well with my superiors.
Okay. Yeah, lost colonies kind of suck. Puts a damper on human progression. I get that.
You could say that.
What would you say then?
I would say that Wayland Yutani is a problem. Wouldn't you?
In that, I agree. Absolutely.
This is why I've brought you all here. Though I actually only expected there to be 2 of you.
Yeah. This is our line cook here, Vince. And Barden, he's a yoga specialist.
He looks it.
you'd be surprised what that man can do.
I'm quite living
Nothing
for my
surprises
age.
me anymore.
I'm almost willing to take that bet, but all right, let's have a chat.
He looks over at kitchens. He finds your presence very interesting. You have a shoot on sight on your file.
You have mustard on your shirt. I'm not mad.
He says, I doubt it. But I tell you that because I'm not interested in shooting you on sight.
That's great news. Maybe we can talk later.
Can I ask, shoot on sight, like who would be the literally everyone in the galaxy is supposed to? Or is this like, oh, if you work for Weyland-Yutani, that's the shoot on sight? Like, are you supposed to shoot us on sight? Who is supposed to do that?
Well, considering the fact that we are the foremost elite force in all of the star systems, yes, it is our job. Unfortunately, we are in a business relationship with Weyland-Yutani. They pay for my soldiers, and my soldiers pay with their lives. It doesn't settle well with me.
Yeah, Weyland-Yutani likes to
So-
rack up a big bill.
So Weyland-Yutani basically have a bounty on us.
Weyland-Yutani decided that none of you were important enough to bother with, so they buried your files, marked you as dead. You are as lost to
Oh.
them as all of those colonists.
Then why
He
are you supposed to
smiles.
shoot us then?
Yeah.
Yes, I am supposed to. But Weyland-Yutani does not pay me enough to follow their orders.
We are here.
It's
Yes.
not a very
I'm
good business
confused, but
relationship.
keep going.
He would have shot us already if the kill on sight order was to be.
I know, but why?
But why?
What do you mean by why what?
Smart boy.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay. I digress. Go ahead.
Regardless of my lost soldiers and the Hadley Hope incident, there are other events, lost colonies, strange happenings, just like yours. I decided that it was time for us to do what we say we do, which is keep the people of the frontier and the outer worlds safe. And we can't do that if Weyland-Yutani is making biological weapons.
Okay.
Would it be easier to swallow if it was the 4th Battalion making the biological weapons?
No, my job is not to make biological weapons.
It's to use
And it's
them.
definitely not Weyland-Yutani's job to make biological weapons. I have no interest in what they have interest in.
All right. Let's pause for a second here. What is it exactly that we can contribute to your new found mission?
Good question. And he boops a button on the wall and it projects like a little HUD thing in the center of the table. And he says, about 2 weeks ago, we received word from one of the outer rims from the frontier. One of our colonial marine vessels had come across a piece of a ship. It had life forms on board. Quite a few, in fact. Roughly about 500 or 600. Upon further investigation, we realized that this is a lost Weyland-Yutani vessel. One that has not been seen in many, many, many years.
What were these life forms exactly?
And the name of the vessel.
He smiles at you and then at Kitchens because both of them are very good questions. He says, well, the USS Covenant. It had roughly 200 plus, or 2,000 plus people on board, colonists that were supposed to set up a new colony almost 100 years ago. I think that's about right. Yeah, about 100 years ago. He says this vessel was lost. It never made it to its destination. This happens occasionally. But the entire thing was funded by Weyland-Yutani. It was to be one of their very first colonies. We came across a piece of that, he said, we came across a piece of that ship. And on board 600 still cryo-frozen individuals. So we believed.
You know, I don't want to state the obvious here, but I'm a little old, and I was previously introduced as a yoga instructor, so I'm a little out of my depth here. What do you think our situation was that you previously alluded to? I come from the kind of people who talk plain, so you're doing a lot of spy talk here, back and forth about things that could or could not have been. What do you think we did?
We are soldiers, not spies, and I'm getting to it.
Okay.
Pardon.
Right.
We sent out, after the recruiting party, a proper Marine force to salvage the colonist, to bring them back. That was roughly a week ago, and we have heard no word from my men.
They're dead.
We're not entirely sure.
I am.
I appreciate your
Candor.
thoughts, but that is actually not true. The only word we received was a few days ago. We got a distress beacon. No words, but a pinging from inside of the vessel. It seems to be trying to reach us direct to the station here. We believe that some of our men are still holed up on the Covenant. If things are as I think they are. The four of you are experts on things that nobody else would believe. I'd like to send you with my elite task force. He gestures to the four people outside. I'd like you to guide them. I want you to rescue my soldiers and come back here and report.
Whom are these soldiers, and why are they so important that you're willing to sacrifice your elite force and 4 stragglers that you're supposed to shoot on sight?
Because unlike most of my superiors, my soldiers are not, in my opinion,
Disposable?
yes.
Okay. I just would like to jump in here and just circle back. Previously, I don't know if you remember because you've been doing a lot of talking here, but I asked you what you think our situation was, and you just said, to which previously you said you're getting to it, that we experienced things no one would believe, which doesn't mean diddly shit. So, what do you think our experience
Varden.
is?
Stop being an asshole for just a moment.
That's pretty much what it is. You flip the switch there, tough guy, with your brass buttons and your shit.
We're inside of a blacklisted set of files alongside a group of other people.
Right, yeah.
All of them lost individuals.
Yeah.
This one, he swipes, shows Ripley. He swipes again. The crew of the Covenant. The crew of the Nostramos. Is this ringing a bell, Barden, or are you still
No, I've never heard
lost?
any one of these names before.
He keeps swiping, bringing up more and more of them, until he kind of goes all the way down the line, and he says, I believe it started somewhere here with Wayland's original mission.
Yeah.
And with this synth. And he slides and he pulls up an image of David. You actually see his face. This was a model that they used for years. They tried to upgrade, make better, but somewhere after the loss of the Covenant, they stopped making this model. It was constantly problematic. And they switched to the Bishop model. Your files were buried with every one of these people, including the original David model. Something is going on here, and I want to know the truth. Because unlike whatever individuals you've come across before, I actually fucking care. I want to see Wayland Yutani burn like a space station in orbit.
Listen, brass buttons, I want you to say with your flapping mouth what you think we're up against. You know it in the back of your head. You know what you think was happening on these ships, and you know what you think happened to us.
Confirmations.
I don't
because
care
we
about your
lack
confirmation.
the
Say it with your
information
flapping corporate
necessary.
mouth.
I'm working on it. You're talking over my flapping corporate mouth.
Because it was too much. It's just one word I want to hear come out of it. What do you think
This is-
we're up against?
I don't know. This is why I'm sending you in, asshole.
I'm going to head back to the ship. I'll see you guys later. This guy's
You will do nothing of the sort. His
Then
four
shoot me.
guards block the door.
Commander Percival, if I may, as someone who has no skin in the game, literally, you said that it was your job and it was your want to protect the people.
Yes.
Therefore, you're going to send even more in to an area to potentially wage a small war against something that will bring about the lives or the ends of lives of more people.
See, it's funny you say that because for whatever reason, the four of you are the only survivors of whatever happened beneath that icy planet. I have no other survivors to question of all of these incidents. Nostramos, the Covenant, the Prometheus.
Would you like my
There's-
full and unbiased opinion, Commander Percival, if you'd like to save the people that you so care about, and you want to stick it to Wayland Yutani, you will destroy that vessel before anyone sets foot upon it again. Because if Wayland Yutani gets there before you, they will extract what is most valuable.
Here's the deal. Wayland Yutani has no idea that any piece of the Covenant has resurfaced.
Yet.
If they had, they would already be there. And I want to keep it this way. I have put forth every effort, dime and man to assure that they stay out of the know that we are on to them. They are sourcing a biological weapon that would wipe out entire space stations. It already has. I'm simply looking for the proof. I need to know the truth. And if you want to tell me, then maybe we can take a step ahead.
Okay.
But either way, the four of you seem to be specialists in some way and know something that I don't. And he looks at Barden knowing he knows something. Because for whatever reason, you think I know. If I knew, I would have had my men shoot you out of space already and I would have sent somebody else in. But I don't have that option. You are my option. And I'm trying very hard to work with you, not against you.
Okay, everything's a little bit too serious right now. We just need like 5 minutes. If you could just step outside, give us 5 minutes, just have a little calm Barden down. Maybe he could do some yoga meditation. We'll just have a quick discussion amongst my comrades. So is that doable?
He looks up kind of towards the ceiling and he says, cut cameras and microphone feed. You have 10 minutes.
Perfect. Much
And
appreciated.
he leaves.
Okay. Listen, we already know what this whole thing is, right? We're not going to say it because, frankly, I don't trust the whole cut mic thing. But regardless, fuck, my mind is all over the place on this one.
You know just as well as I do that the safest route would be to expunge what remains of the Covenant from space.
Yeah. Or
But the Covenant is very obviously very important, right? Why else
Why?
would they send 2,000 people?
I don't know anything about it. Just he made it sound like it was just a colony
It's a
ship.
colony. It's an arc ship.
One of
It's a settlement
Wayland
ship.
Yutani's first.
Yeah.
Do you understand the importance of that?
So
Now it's probably all hosts.
my angle on this, only reason I would want to go there, I'm with Kitchens on this for once. I think that what's on that ship is dangerous, but that, I don't know, if it's a colony ship that's filled with that stuff, my idea is that we just send it back to where it belongs in a very fast moving explosive package. Meaning, only reason I want to go over there is to use it against them.
Okay, but you're talking about using it against people that have no idea what Wayland Yutani's doing. That's a lot of innocent people you're talking about.
I'm sorry, who are the innocent people?
Are we saying, I'm saying sending it at Wayland Yutani itself.
And Wayland
So are we
Yutani
saying,
Wayland Yutani hires people much like Ren and myself, even yourself.
So
we
not
send this
like
in-
a command center or, I don't know, base of operations for Wayland Yutani right here on this planet. Come attack us.
No, it's
Well, if it were
pretty much
only that
everywhere,
easy. Unless you happen to know where the Wayland Council is.
I don't even know if I didn't even know that was a thing. Sounds like
There's always
something
a-
out of one of the books I read when I was
There's always a board of
teenager.
directors.
Otherwise, yeah, no, I'm with Kitchens.
I mean,
Everyone wants to learn stuff about this thing. I don't care. I think it should just.
we already know that information is the only way to do what we are trying to do. Now, granted, I'm very much on the fence about this. I could go either way. I know it's a huge risk that I would never ask anybody to take, and the fact that we're being asked in the first place, you know.
So, okay. So maybe instead of going in and my plan of, taking a infected ship and throwing it at a base, what if it has information about what Wayland Yutani is doing with these things? Because so far as we know, actually, we don't have any proof of what Wayland Yutani is doing.
Only witness accounts, yes.
And even then, we have witness accounts of it and not any association between this company and it.
That's not necessarily true. We have cargo manifests, sorta, but
Yeah.
that's not
No,
not firm proof.
No, wait, what? We have direct proof.
What?
You two and Desta were hired by Wayland Yutani
You think
on
they
a
haven't
Wayland
covered that
Yutani
already?
outpost.
You
Well,
think that-
we're saying we didn't have proof. We have proof. You were hired to
no,
transport
that's
the
still
things
a
that
witness
attacked us.
account. That's a witness account. It's not going to work for anybody. People lie on the number of eyewitness accounts that are complete bullshit.
Why don't we actually run a mobile unit?
Hmm?
We don't technically have to set foot on the ship. Just like this might be an area of your own expertise here. Vince, why don't we assemble while we're here a mobile unit, something akin to a race car?
That won't work for the commander. He's wanting us to save his people.
Yeah,
Well,
well, he's really looking forward to proof, correct? So we just need proof of a biological weapon. If his
And
men
he
are
already
dead,
said
then
that
they're
his
dead.
motivation is to save his people. You think that he's going to go for that? He won't. I can guarantee you. I know the type.
Well, if he sees it firsthand, he doesn't need us to admit it. In which case, we can immediately discuss that we don't have the technology to adapt a developing method of handling an alien unit.
I just want to know how this guy sees 2,000 cryo-slept colonists, and then he sends a crew in, and they die, and he jumps to bioweapon. I'm missing the link that he's making here, and I want to know what he knows, because I think he's missing a key piece of information and not telling us about it. That's my concern.
Yeah.
Alternatively, the ship's been missing for 100 years, and even if we recover old data, likely it doesn't trace to anything about Wayland Yutani in the
I
last 100
disagree.
years.
No, I disagree.
Or it wouldn't be lost.
I think it would trace directly to Wayland Yutani because they were not that smart 100 years ago. I think this is the key to everything that we've been talking about. And we're just being pussies trying to not go in there. That's what I think.
I don't want to, Rin, I don't want to shit in your hat, but you were,
I don't even know
you
where
were
my
pretty,
head is.
well, I didn't want to, I will point that out. You were very adamant and very proud of the fact that you shot a bunch of aliens to death. And it does occur to me that what you shot was the baby that hatched out of the egg. It was the larval form.
Hey, Barden.
So
didn't
I don't want to fight 2,000 fully grown
Okay.
aliens with your one
Vince
pistol.
just looks up at the camera that's supposed to be off.
Hey, Dot. While they're going through this, the HUD that's immediately before us, I'm assuming that it's sourcing files that are immediately relevant to the commander's interests.
This is like the file he put together on this mission based
Sure.
on the previous people that he sent, and then what he is basically trying to brief all of you on.
Is there engaging documents that would show us what part of the covenant still remains?
Yep. From what you can tell, it's a portion of the centralized portion of the ship. Well, I gotta think how the covenant was actually built. So it would show you like the chunk of the vessel because they would have done a scan, right? So he sent a scouting crew, they found it, they came back, and then he sent a party in to rescue everybody.
Sure.
His records show that every person that was in cryo on it is still alive. 500 plus people are alive in their tubes. They're not like huddled near a reactor, right? He's showing 500 untouched people in cryo.
Is there a schematic of the Covenant?
Yeah, you could probably, like, if you dig through his files, you might find one that he probably put together for the original crew because they were going to map their entry point and try to figure it out. So it's going to include a portion of the hold with all of the people, right? And then it's going to have the section where the crew would have slept, as well as maybe some parts of the rest of the ship, like maybe part of the medical bay or something that's left. But like the centralized portion of the ship like broke off.
Okay.
And that's what's kind of floating here. Yes.
Can we, is it theoretical that we now have access to potentially the funds of the Colonel to go on this rescue mission?
You would be backed entirely by the United Americas. You would be protected by them, both legally, financially. So if Weyland-Yutani tried to come after you, they would protect you. From what you can tell, based on where the distress signal pinged from, they are holed up inside of a space on this thing. All of the bodies are still untouched. You don't know how many of his crew remain. And he seems to be extremely interested in recovering the video footage, the camera footage from the vessel. He doesn't care. He does care about his crew, and he did say he does care about the people. Like, their original mission was to go save these people because Weyland-Yutani clearly left all 2,000 of them to just waste his space. So he does care about the people. Like, he sent a crew to actually evacuate these pods.
Then can we see on the schematic, is there like a ping of where the soldiers actually are at?
Yes.
How close is that to an external wall? Are they like
relatively close? Yeah, relatively close. Mm-hmm.
All right. So my idea, and I'm going to pitch this to the squad while they're kind of bickering back and forth. Okay, fine. If we're going in, why don't we try the pinch and pull method? We have a ship that can vacuum lock, depressurize, and hull breach.
Right.
We pull them directly through the wall instead of entering into the ship and navigating it by foot.
Mm-hmm.
We vacuum lock, depressurize, hull breach, and leach them through.
Bleach who through?
The
The
soldiers.
Marines.
What about the colonists?
That's what
We're
I was about to ask.
We're starting with one step
Okay.
step at a time.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Listen, I just wanna add here, because you two, well, I guess just you. I don't know what was happening. You guys were asleep, the two of you. So I'm gonna fill you in again. And Vince, I don't want to have to dredge up this memory for you. All the people that were in the pods, the cryostasis pods on the ship that was down, they were all live in the pods. And then one of them opened up and it
No.
exploded
that is
out of
not.
someone's chest. No, I watched it.
No.
I watched it happen.
So
I
did
was there.
he. He was awake the whole damn time. That is not what happened.
Vince, am I wrong here?
They put his father into cryo because he had gotten snatched by
yeah,
the damn thing.
Right. And so you think there's 2,000 people who couldn't have been woken up, whoop, put a thing inside of them, and they might not be harvesting, being a little goo baby in
can do
there?
As I
medical
stated, the
scans.
files very clearly state those people's cryopods had not been opened. They are untouched, still sealed, completely healthy.
I don't believe this.
I mean, Barden
understand
could
and
be right.
appreciate
I
your
mean,
thoughts.
we don't know what happened on that ship. Maybe before they got in cryo, one of them was latched onto.
We also
But-
don't know why the ship was lost. We don't know what happened and why it was in multiple pieces. There's a lot of unknown factors. What I
Yeah.
want to point out for everybody here is if we don't agree to this, we're good as dead anyway.
Yeah.
So I hope you understand the severity of the situation that we're in, which I said was a possibility when we came here.
Yeah.
I'm going to copy all of the
say-
files.
We go with Kitchen's plan on this minimally invasive, low navigation on ship effort to at least extract his Marines. And then we'll work on a more resource heavy approach to try to extract the colonists once we confirm
Yeah.
that they're not going to be bringing aboard, what's it.
Okay, well, I would
That's
like
going to be the big problem.
I would like
Well,
to
at that
amend
point, we probably need to debrief the commander about it, don't you think?
I would like to amend the plan, if at all possible, here,
Okay.
if we could. Possibly with your help, Kitchens. Vince, I'm sorry, I'm not sure exactly how you can help in this matter, but you're welcome to be here. Rin, Commander, whatever. His elite soldiers, I don't give a shit about. They are elite soldiers that usually soldier against human people with your human bits.
You know what? Actually, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, Dot. I would like to handpick a group of specialists that might be well trained for the tasks that might be around
Rin?
what we think it might be.
You were a colonial marine, or you were a colonial officer of some kind, right? Like you were a
Marine
marshal.
to then Marshal, yeah.
Marshal, yeah, right. So
Yeah,
I'll
went
tell
through
you
the
this: you would probably I should have given you this earlier. You would know Parsival. You would
okay.
specifically know that he's a very specific kind of colonel.
Mm-hmm.
He believes the problem with the colonial marines and the reason why people like Barden hate them is because they get planet side and have nobody to wrangle them in, and they do horrible things, right?
Yeah.
They're marines on the loose, and this has gotten worse over the years. He has always believed against that and believed that he believes the old adage that might makes right, and knows that marines are quite simply the best of the best until they're not. He's actually a very good man, and oftentimes is on the opposite side of the table in comparison to a lot of other sergeants. Now, all of that to be said, the door slides open. He walks back in, his hands kind of behind, and he says, I feel like I have... Barden is right. I am keeping something from all of you.
Of course. Go ahead.
He says, I guess it wouldn't matter so much, but my daughter, she was the lead commander for the unit we sent back out to recover the colonist. So I guess I have personal stakes in this.
If you had led with that, you would have been a lot more relatable.
He says, yes, well, they teach us not to lead with our feelings in the Marines. I
feel
apologize
like I remember you. Maybe not directly.
Maybe. I hope you've made a decision.
Yeah, we're going to help you, but we're going to be dictating how it's going to go down.
He says, good, he's like, I was going to give you dictation anyways. You know something that I don't. So,
yeah, about that. I hope you have a very, very good bottle of whiskey.
He says, I will promise you a very good bottle of whiskey if you bring my daughter back alive. And the camera pans to Kitchens. You've been going through miles.
Kitchens is experiencing all of the emotions at the exact same time.
He's found the key.
He's unlocked all human emotion at once.
Kitchens is scrubbing through. He doesn't even have human emotion. He's scrubbing through picture by picture by picture, and the picture of David comes up once more. And maybe it's because Kitchens hasn't looked at himself very much. But maybe all of you turn to see that Kitchens is a David model. Much older. But he looks just like the original David. We'll call that the perfect corruption bar for the night, as we end with a picture of the original David setting out on a mission with the original Mr. Yutani and his daughter. And Kitchens, who is a similar but kind of older, newer model. Hands augmented, maybe small pieces here and there. But if you look close enough, he is a David model.
Nice. And you, Chad, if you look back in the VOD, you can find the exact moment that Dot typed that to Bub and watch his head explode and drip down his shirt.
Why do you think Bishop gave him the information?
Who knows? Who knows? Not us.
Bishop knew the moment he looked at him. He was like, "Oh fuck, that's a David model." Yeah. Let me just take that.
You just seed this corruption.
Thanks, Mom.
Well,
I guess Kitchens looks like a Fassbender.
Yep.
Can kind of fine though. I mean, I'm just saying.
I mean-
saying.
Yeah, you gotta hit it in space. Barton knows some yoga. Come on, Kitchens, we'll start a new thing. That was episode 3 of this season of Alien Emanation. This one was called United We Stand, which I think turned out to be a pretty fucking solid title. As always, if you like what we do here and you want to support the channel, the best way to do that is our Patreon. Join us in the Discord while you're down there. Be a part of the conversation and the community. But we're going to get out of here. We're going to do our after show. But before we do that, we're going to go around and do our introductions. We will start with Bub Fastbender, David Fastbubber? I don't know, whatever. Bub, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? And what are you up to?
Hi, I'm a mistake of creation apparently in this game.
Perfect.
And I'm just making the most of it. Guys, I'm Bub the Bubberknight. You can find me over on twitch.tv/thebubberknight, where I'm doing all kinds of things, mostly screaming into the infinitely deep black hole, hoping that something just screams back and grips onto me. I just want to feel a little love, I suppose. But you can find me doing all kinds of tabletop stuff, lots of podcasting. Just pop over and we'll talk about it. That's me.
Perfect. Since we have a bunch of people here from several communities, I will say that Bub's community is trying to raise the funds to get him a hot tub, and he has promised the whole crew here that should that happen, he will start a show called Rub-a-Dub-Dub Bub in a Tub. So if you guys want to make that happen,
I just like Rub-a-Dub-Bub.
you know, that's what he'll be called.
That's
the whole
what it is.
show.
Way
for
more
sure.
action-packed.
That's the whole show.
That's the name of my OnlyFans right there.
Yeah, it's onlyfans.com/Rub-a-Bub.
Just hope you're ready for banana hammocks. Okay, that's all I'm getting at.
Twitch.tv/Bubbernut, the Bubbernut. Go make that
What
happen.
else would we expect?
Gotta slow that down because you definitely just said the bubber nut.
You know, hey, onlyfans.com/thebubbernut. Speaking of all these things and harassing our friends, Dot, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? What are you up to?
Hey friends, I'm Dot. You know I'm over here twice a week doing sci-fi things when I'm not here. I'm over on Kobold Press where I produce their stuff. Got a new campaign coming out on Monday nights. You can check that out over there. And then, you know, myself and the Bubbernut, we have a podcast.
Fucking, I'm done.
called
Shit
Stitch
gets
of Fate.
weird.
Called Stitch of Fate. You should check us out. Bub does an amazing job of playing one of the creepiest fellas, I think, you know, out there.
Yeah. And if you guys ever wonder why Bub doesn't come on other channels, it's this. It's the same reason why we have like a contractual obligation to have Meta here, because no one else will take her anymore. Once she's come here, everyone's like, oh, you're fine, you're good.
You're tainted. You're the tainted crew.
That's true.
But speaking of Meta, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? And what are you up to?
Hi guys, Metamancer. I mean, Mike already said it, really, guys. Like, nobody else wants me, so here I am. I'm just kidding. I love being here. It's great. Yeah, that's it. You guys, this is all you got.
Perfect.
Just
Checks in the
once
mail.
a week. Yep, that's it.
Zach, soon to be joining that club of unwanted streamers that are stuck here. Who are you?
Yep.
Where can we find you on the internet?
Soon
What
to
are you
be.
up to?
I've been a part of it.
Well,
Hi, I'm Zach. I'm on the internet as a guy with a fro on this channel and also on our Vanilla Runs channel and my own channel and on Twitter. And I do RPG stuff and I do music stuff, mallet stuff, Bub stuff. I'm done.
you gotta pay extra for Bub stuff. But that's it for
Go
us.
to OnlyFans. Yep.
We will see you guys next week. So we're going to get out of here and do our after show. Again, if you want that, check it out on Patreon. And if you guys are watching on YouTube, we do stream here on twitch.tv/unMadeGaming every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. But that's it. For now, we'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.